In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you my goals in 2024 as a music producer, and more importantly, my reasoning and thought process behind them. And make sure you stick around for the whole video, because I'm gonna share with you an easy way for you to come up with your own well thought out goals for the new year. Real quick before my first point, having actual goals is extremely important as a producer, especially if you wanna improve and start to see progress in your career. And you're gonna wanna have better goals than just saying that you wanna make better or harder beats as a producer, because that doesn't actually mean anything. But that's what I'm here to help you out with. Instead of going through my entire list of goals for next year, I'm just gonna go through and highlight the three main ones that I wanna share. And my first goal is that I wanna grow my presence on Spotify and other streaming platforms as an artist and producer myself. We've seen tons of producers go viral in the last few years off of just their beats and loops going viral all on their own. And bigger producers like Metro Boomin have been releasing music and their own projects under their own name for years now. Instead of just being in the producer credits on Spotify, you'll see Metro Boomin's name up there with 21 Savage or Future, whoever the artist is he's working with. And a big thing in general that I want to focus on next year is just releasing more music instead of letting these beats and songs just sit on my hard drive gathering dust. And pushing myself to upload onto streaming services more will do that. For me personally, I realized that I was burning out a lot as a producer and not being able to recover easily because I didn't have a real connection with my music and my catalog of songs that I've worked on. That sounds really vague, especially because at the same time I was dropping beats every single day and tons of artists were rapping on them and releasing songs with them all the time. But my actual catalog of songs that I've worked on personally with artists directly has grown a lot less than that. When I say dropping on Spotify, I don't mean just dropping instrumentals or just lots of beat tapes. What I'm talking about specifically is growing my actual song catalog on Spotify. Growing your own audience as a producer on platforms like Spotify is a huge thing as a producer. You know, we always talk about things like having your own website or having your own email list that you own independently. Well, having your own artist profile on Spotify and actively dropping music through it is kind of like the same thing, or at least that's how I'm thinking about it. My second goal is to be more consistent with dropping beats and videos on YouTube. I already consistently post a video every single week on here for you guys on the Heat channel, but in my own personal sphere of content creation, I've been slacking severely. I've been neglecting my own type beat channel for so long, and I want to get back to posting on there regularly, especially since I didn't stop making music and beats. I was just so burnt out on having that channel in general that I just didn't want to upload the beats I was making. My main focus with posting again consistently isn't to necessarily grow my type beat channel as effectively as possible or try and max out the sales that I get through it. I'm more focused on the exposure of just putting my beats out there more. Most of my placements and big opportunities I've gotten as a producer have been because I have a moderately successful type beat channel, but when I stopped posting on it regularly, I stopped getting a lot of those opportunities. And even though I haven't been needing the money, I have been missing those random placements that I would get with newer artists that I really fucked with that found my beats through YouTube. Staying consistent is everybody's favorite advice to give to producers who want to see success, but it's that common for a reason. Think of it like this. Imagine every beat or Instagram reel or TikTok that you posted was a lottery ticket. If you only have one lottery ticket, you have a very small chance of winning that big jackpot. But if you go to the store and buy a new one every single day, then your chances of winning just keep going up and up. That's kind of a funny way to put into perspective one of my favorite quotes, which is that luck is what happens when opportunity meets preparation. To me, that basically means that the harder you work, the luckier you tend to be. And being consistent is originally how I built my channel to begin with. If I didn't make the conscious effort to post every single day for at least a year, then my channel would have probably never popped off and I probably would never even have a career in music. Now, my last goal for 2024 is I want to focus on live streaming more. We all know that live streaming has been huge for the better part of the last decade, especially in 2020 when we're all cooped up inside. And even though I personally don't watch Twitch or live streamers in general, I still see how effective that platform is for artists and musicians of all kinds. Now, I have dabbled in streaming throughout the years, but I've never made the conscious effort to consistently do it and stick with that for a long period of time like I have with posting type beats. And this isn't my goal because I want to become the next big Twitch streamer or something like that. I actually don't care for blowing up on Twitch like that at all. I'm more inspired by producers like Nick Mira or Benny X, who literally have thousands of hours of them just cooking up on YouTube for you to see. To me, this is more of a way for me to stay consistent with my goals and also kind of hold myself publicly accountable in a way. I'm already gonna be sitting on my computer making beats or doing something else for most of the day, so I might as well live stream it, you know? And while I'm working, I'm gonna be a lot less likely to click off and go to YouTube and go watch true crime videos for an hour if I have an audience watching me. And it's also just one of the best ways to connect with your audience and subscribers in real time. They're there actually watching you and you can be there interacting with them back. You don't really get that one-to-one interaction with your audience regularly, especially since we all do this digitally and online. So this is one of the best ways for you to be able to do that. These are the 3 main goals I want to share with you guys. I got some more stuff written down on my list, but it's just gonna be repetitive. Like, it's stuff you're gonna find on every producer's New Year's resolutions. But now it's time for me to get into the juicy part, and that's for you to be able to make your own set of goals specific to your life and career. First up, I just want you to stop and reflect back on your last year as producer, or even your entire career if you haven't been doing it for much longer than a year. Looking back, start to think, what has worked well for you in this last year, and what do you want to do more of? You're gonna want to keep these reflections in mind as you create your list of goals, because they're gonna give you a general direction for you to follow. For example, if you linked up with an artist for the first time in the studio this last year, and you really enjoyed that face-to-face collaboration process with them, then you should try and do more of that in the next year, and maybe not so much things that are more introverted activities as a producer. It doesn't have to be so black and white like that, but just use these reflections to guide the direction you want to go with when you're making your list of goals. Next, you're going to want to start to envision what you want your actual 2024 to look like and start forming your goals around there. You're going to want to include everything in this list of goals, from the big picture stuff like winning a Grammy or getting a placement with Drake, even to the little things like selling your first beat or staying consistent with posting on social media for a month. It's important to have both because these smaller wins are gonna give you motivation to keep going in your journey and just keep your momentum going in general. If you don't have any smaller goals on your way to the top, it's a lot easier for you to become demotivated and just stop posting in general. Next up, you're gonna wanna set SMART goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. Let's start with the first letter, which is specific. This basically means that you want your goals to be clear and concise so you have an obvious direction to aim for. Don't just say, I want to make better beats, or I want my beats to hit harder. That's too vague. It doesn't mean anything. Instead, break that goal down and be more specific with it. Like, instead of saying that, say, I want to spend an hour each day learning how to play the guitar, or I want to learn how to recreate sounds from scratch in Serum. Without direction, you're just going to be going in circles, just trying to become a better producer. But when you have clear and concise goals, you'll know exactly the direction that you need to move in. Measurable means that you should be able to measure progress of your goals so you can keep track of them and not lose motivation, like I just said. Keeping track of your progress is extremely important, especially when there's no official milestones as a music producer. It's not like other things like school or work where you have clear definitions of success, like making it to graduation or getting that promotion. The music industry doesn't work that way. You have to keep track of your own successes instead of being told when you've made it or something like that. I think it was Alex Ramosi that said that you measure and keep track of the things that you care about. That means if you really truly care about your career as a producer, then you should be measuring and keeping track of your progress so that you can know that you're going the right direction that you want to be in, or that you're not falling behind. For example, something we all keep track of and measure on the daily is our own bank accounts. We all keep an eye on the amount of money that we have in our bank accounts because we pay for important things with it, like rent, food, plugins. But if you didn't, you'd fall behind on your payments, you'd start to go into debt because you don't have money. Your wife and kids will leave you because you spend all your money on stupid shit like plugins and audio gear, and you're just not gonna be taking care of your responsibilities. Next up, achievable means that your goals should be both clear and attainable. Like I said earlier, it's really important to dream big, but having the goal of getting a Grammy as a producer is extremely ambitious, especially if you've never even released your first beat. That doesn't mean don't dream big, you just gotta keep these dreams in reality. A funny example would be for me, if I wanted to make a goal of joining the NBA, well, that's just not realistically gonna happen. Like, I'm 5'9", I've never played basketball before a day in my life. Realistically and scientifically, I'm just not gonna ever be in the NBA. And that's just a fact. Relevant means that your goals should be relevant to your broader career ambitions as a producer. For example, let's go back to saying you want to be in more sessions and network face-to-face more. In that case, then maybe you shouldn't pack your goal list with introverted producer activities, like going hard at growing your type beat channel and chasing sync placements at the same time. Like, that's kind of going in the opposite direction of what you want to do. That doesn't mean don't do these things. Like, you should definitely be pursuing these opportunities as well. But if your goals are something like A, B, and C over here, it doesn't make sense to spend all your day doing things that's going to take you in the complete opposite direction. If I want to be a full-time musician, I'm not going to spend 10 hours a day learning how to code because I want to make that video game idea I thought of last week. It just doesn't make sense. Last is time-bound, which means putting a deadline on your goals for you to be able to focus on and keep your attention towards. This helps everyday tasks from taking priority over your long-term goals and just helps you get more done in general. Deadlines keep you on your toes, and they remove all possibilities of just endlessly procrastinating on your career. Lastly, you're gonna wanna make sure that you keep a healthy balance between working on your business and in your business. Working in your business means doing the things like making beats, making loops, mixing, whatever it is you do as a producer. That's working in your business. Meanwhile, working on your business means doing bigger picture things like coming up with a marketing strategy or taking courses online so you can learn new things about business. You need both of these things to be successful as a producer. Just like you need clear goals to be able to see growth in your career, you also won't see growth without doing the boring things that don't involve creating music. Working on your business is just as important as working in your business, if not maybe even more important. Because what's the point of making 1,000 beats in a year if you have no idea how you're actually gonna get people to hear them? And it works the opposite way too. I've been guilty of that. All these goals and marketing strategies look good on paper, but they're completely worthless if there's not an actual good product behind for you to be marketing and working towards selling. This has been how you can create your own well thought out goals as a producer in 2024. If you found value in this video and learned anything new, I'd really appreciate if you click the like button and subscribe button down below. This is my last video on the Heat channel for all of 2023, and I've been super grateful for everybody who's been watching the videos I've been putting out. I'm looking forward to making even bigger and better videos for you guys next year, and I'm extremely excited for you guys to see that. But for now, just leave me a comment down below and let me know what your goals are in 2024.